Hey, what's up there, YouTube friends? It's Grumpy Gamer Dad here, and welcome to the second installment of Making the Nightmare. That's creating the nightmare before Christmas in my front yard. So the last episode we dealt with the cemetery archway, and this episode we're going to deal with the cemetery fence itself. Kind of a easy project per se because it involves a lot of PVC pipes, which I got a crap ton of. So we got to make them all spooky and like bent and creepy looking. So it's going to be a little bit tougher, but stay tuned. Here's my subject matter. Oh, hold on. So my subject matter here. Now, obviously, I don't have a hill that I'm going to put it. My lawn is flat. My front yard is flat, so I have to kind of improvise. I'm still going to give it that whirly look. We'll call it whirly. It's a good word. So because I'm using a T-junction and not a cross junction, I'm going to be limited. So essentially, each piece of the fence is going to be its own, each section will be its own unit. So I'm going to have, this will be one unit, and then next to it would have to be the next unit. It would have been easier if I had T's, but they didn't have them available at the hardware store, unfortunately, and I don't have enough in my personal stash right now to do it. So it'll be a work in progress. So it is a little hot outside in the garage today, so I've moved into the house, much to my wife's disappointment and disapproval, but I'm just cutting PVC. Because I'm using those ratcheted cutters, they should not have any, there shouldn't be any debris or debris left behind. Hey, look, there's Mickey. What? So, yeah, we've already decorated for Halloween in the house. And like I said, it's only the first full weekend in September. All right, so here we go. That's what I've done. I've took about, I don't know, 3 full 10-foot PVC. There's my foot. PVC pieces. I measured them out 12 inches, 14 inches, and 16 inches. You see these T sections here. So being that they're 12, 14, and 16 inches long or even wide, you kind of have this eclectic mix. Some aren't even. Okay, so the cemetery gate fence anyway. I've got a bunch of these sections here that I made different lengths, so when I stake them into the ground, they'll go at different angles. I bought some of these Halloween decorations only because I want this, the finial, the top piece. That will be the little spike for my gate. And I also might be able to use this bottom piece for something, repurpose these. Got these at the Dollar Tree. 2 of these little cheap plastic stakes for $1. And so you can see I bought a stack of them. And then also, I have this rebar. That's what's going to stake it into the ground. It will fit nicely into this, and then stake it into the lawn. I got that at the hardware store for about $1.05 each. Basically, I'm just taking a pair of utility scissors, and I'm going to cut here. It's cheap plastic, so it cuts real easy. And then I'll cut this off. Oh, I'll cut this off right here, and break these little pieces off. You can see they're already breaking off. Okay, so I've cut a couple of them in. I just easily stick them into the PVC here at the top, and then I'm going to insert them into the PVC fencing. So here we have a completed section. You see that down here there are 2 different lengths, which means when they get staked to the ground, they'll go at an angle, and I can adjust accordingly. And you can see the spikes attached, and they're at 2 different heights. So it should give that kind of warbled effect, that warped looking fence effect from the movie. So there it is. I've got top pieces about 20 of them. I kept the bottom pieces and I cut them off so they're about a foot long because I had an epiphany. I had an idea. Instead of using those rebar pieces, which I have an irrigation system in front, I might accidentally hit a pipe. I'll use these plastic things. They're ground stakes. They're meant to go on the ground, so I'll see if I can't use those and put those in the bottom of the. So here I've got a couple sections. The only thing I have to figure out is be careful with the top piece, the spike, because that plastic is so super brittle. If you drop the PVC while it's in there, it's going to snap it off, so you're out of buck. I learned that the hard way. I did that. Use the bottom pieces as the pieces intended for ground spikes. They're actually in the ground. And of course, spray paint's next. Okay, so today we're going to be finishing up the build of the cemetery fence. I've got it all laid out here in the side yard of my house. It's not finished yet, but we're going to finish it up today. Do the finials, the little spikes on the top. That might not be the correct use of finial. Typically, that's like a stair part is a finial, the little ball that goes on top of a stair part. That's actually technically a finial. But yeah, knowledge. All right, dropping some knowledge on you. But I'm going to call them finials today. So suck it. We're going to finish those up, put the spikes on the top. We'll just call them spikes from now on. And then throw a little rattle can spray paint coats on there, and we'll be good to go with that project. That'll be done. Another one in the bag, hopefully. So this is a side yard of my house, and as you can see, this is kind of my vision. They look kind of static, like a bunch of static little H's, but that's how they're going to be. And you can see some of them have the spikes. We'll just stick with spikes, and some of them don't yet. You know, if I really want to warp them out, I'd hit them with a heat gun. That still might be a possibility, but I am running out of time right now. So to put things in perspective here, it's been 2 weeks since I started this project, and I've gotten a lot done. I finished Jack already. Zero's house is about 70%. I've been working on piece by piece by piece. The front gate and the fence are the next two. Hopefully I can get those knocked out today. And then I got a couple other little special things. I got some pumpkins. I got to carve out some foam pumpkins and a bunch of other things. So I'm on task. I'm on track to finish this in the next couple weeks. But I'm starting to get a little stressed out because I'm a perfectionist and things don't always go the way I want them to. So here we are taking a final look at the cemetery fence before I spray paint it. Some of them have the little fleur-de-lis spike, some of them have the straight spike. I think I mentioned earlier that I thought, repurposing the spikes that these plastic Halloween decorations came with would be a good idea for the bottom. That was not a good idea. I should have thought, I was trying to repurpose as much as possible, but I should have thought that, if the plastic is thin enough to be cut with a pair of regular utility scissors, it's not going to hold up. And so after trying that out, they were flopping and bending and breaking. This plastic is not the best, but it suits our purposes, at least for now. This was a last minute idea, and kind of thrown together, trying to keep it under budget. I think the budget right now for the fences, if I include the most expensive thing, which was the dollar store plastic fences that I cut down, I got 7 of those, so that's $7 plus the PVC, probably $10-12 with PVC, and then adding in the paint, about $16, no more than $20 for this fence. Now talk about the forgotten build. These poor pieces have been sitting in the backyard for about a week. Here they are finished. They've just been spray painted. This is not the hardest build that we've had. In fact, probably one of the easier builds. I would definitely say that the cemetery fence, well, like the gate, was necessary and a critical component. There wasn't a whole lot of crafting or, there wasn't a whole lot of work involved as far as, DIY. All I really did was cut PVC, cut those little finial parts, the spikes, and then rattle canned it. basic, simple work. Trust me, the next builds are far, far more intricate. Zero's house took weeks to build because we built that 100% from scratch. So that's going to be the next build. Besides being relatively easy as far as fabrication goes, this build was pretty inexpensive. The majority of the expense was, I would say total, this build was under $30. The most expensive item was the PVC, but I bought that in bulk. The couplers, I bought those in bulk. It was about 50 couplers for $8, and I used, I don't know, I still have like half a thing of them. The PVC pipe, there was probably about 6 pieces, maybe 5 pieces used, so you're looking at about $7 there. The paint, the rattle cans, 2 cans of cheap spray paint was like $3. And then the most expensive thing on this build was the little spiky pieces. I got 7 sets for $7 at the Dollar Tree, so $7. And that took care of 14 spikes. Not a bad deal. Hey, well, there you have it. Episode number 2 in the can. The cemetery fencing. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said before, we're starting off kind of and we'll work our way up to the good stuff. Next week, the good stuff is starting. Zero and Jack are next week, and then the following week is Sally and Lock, Shock, and Barrel. That Lock, Shock, and Barrel should be a long-ass episode, too, because they are actually the most scratch built, but I'm not going to get into that now. So anyway, until next time, this is Grumpy Gamer Dad. You can follow me on Instagram at Grumpy Gamer Dad. Like, subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you in your nightmares. That's my new catchphrase. I'm working on it.